Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, one of the things that I've been thinking about, and I'm always thinking, and I know that I start so many of these shows this way, but I've been trying to think about what is the most important aspect of the things we do when we go fishing that determines whether we're going to be successful or not successful in our goal of catching a fish. And, you know, it's no different than, I guess, a store owner or a person wanting to build a house in the right area. It's location, location, location. And what am I speaking about? I'm speaking about us learning what location those fish are going to be in. If we can't, we can be the best casters, the most knowledgeable fishermen in the world, and we can cast and cast and cast, and we're never going to catch a fish if there aren't any fish there. So it's knowing where the fish are. That location is the most paramount thing of all. So the more we can learn about fish behavior and why they would be in one place other than another place is important. But let's say we develop that. Let's say we can pinpoint where they are. So now the next thing that's highly, highly important is to be able to put our lure where those fish are. And this, you know, I can't overstate this because I can think back to so many of the different fishing experiences that I've had, and one person might be better than another because I guess what I'm trying to say is learning how to cast and being able to cast accurately to the spot that you think those fish are is critical. Let me step back and tell you about the times out west in Montana and Wyoming when I would be on these float trips. And what you do is you get in a float boat. It's designed specifically for these waters. They call them a drift boat. And you start drifting with the current. You have a guide that's keeping the boat in position. And as you go along, there'll be a spot. He'll say, there's a trout right over there under that branch. Well, you've got maybe a few seconds and one cast to get that fly or whatever you're using to land right where that fish might be and come up and take it. If you're successful, you might get a strike and you might catch a fish. But if you're not, you're gone. You're past that point. You don't get two casts at that spot in most cases. And it's the same thing when I talk about going down the rivers for muskies. When we're drifting down the river, and I've told you where they'll be laying right against the shore in a certain spot. Well, if you can't cast within inches of the shoreline, if that's where those fish are laying, a lot of times they won't come out. Now, there's other times they will, but a lot of times they won't. And I got to tell you, I've been drifting with my buddy Rust down the Deer River or the Grass River, whatever, and he's managing the boat, and I'm up in the front, or the canoe. So I'm in the front. I have less responsibilities. I'm in a more selfish position where I get first cast and so forth. And time after time, he's ended up getting more strikes and more fish than me because he's a better caster, and every single cast he puts within just inches of the shore. And it's just another example. So what am I trying to tell you all? I guess one of the first things, if you're teaching a new person how to fish, or if you're new to fishing, is to realize that learning how to cast whatever kind of rod and reel you have, just learning how to cast it, and so that you can get your lure to land where you think the fish is critical. I'll give you one other real example to this. If you're fishing for Atlantic salmon, they talk about, they have a position they call the lie, where they will lie, but unbelievably, unlike other fish, they lie upriver from a rock or something. In other words, they're right in the current and they're above it. Most fish will go behind it where they get a break from the current. They get a spot where they can wait to get other stuff, not with salmon. So if you don't know how to position your fly so that it comes right down on the upriver side of that rock, you're probably not going to get a strike. And it's just another example how so many times we might go someplace and we'll see one person catching all the fish. Well, they might be just the luckiest fishermen in the world, or they might be able to cast a little bit better than we do, and they know exactly where they want their lure to go. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.